irrigation on this raised bed, and I did a water blanket system on it, and I want to show you guys what I used to have prior, or what I have on some of the beds that I'm gonna switch to the water blanket. This and that, but it doesn't get the water quite everywhere where it needs to go. So what I'm gonna do is redo it and do the water blanket on this. So this bed will need to get changed, this one too. That way everything gets watered evenly. You see how right here there's no water coming over here unless I move this. Then if I leave this here, that won't have any water, and I don't want to run drip emitters to each plant because I just want everything needs to get water, so I might as well just do the water blanket like it is here. So what I like about this is that you have a shut-off valve to each area, or to each bed. You can even do it to each bed if you wanted to. And so you can adjust the pressure. See how that's more? The water blanket here has worked very, very nicely. So I have garlic, turnips. This is a snapdragon flower. Some chives. The lemongrass is starting to come up. Come back to life. This is more chives. Some Swiss chard, another snapdragon, and another lemongrass that's coming back to life. You can see the little green shoot right there. So it's really exciting. Transfer over the two water blanket systems over here. That way, when I put the border on here and hook up the legit irrigation system, I don't have to do this, and that way I can transplant here without having to worry about if things are going to get watered right or not. So essentially what it is a 1/2 inch running all the way around the bed with 1/4 inch line that I drilled 1/16 inch holes with the drill bit, like about every 4 inches, and then used connectors to connect that line. So what I did was measure the width across and then cut my 1/4 inch lines. Okay, so away with this. Okay, so now that I have a 3/4 inch bit, I'm gonna drill a hole. Now we've got a 3/4 inch, I believe it's called the spade bit. I'm drilling my hole into the board. That way the irrigation line's not hanging over the boards. And I'm gonna make a cut down in the lower part for the shut-off valve. Here's what the shut-off valve looks like for a 1/2 inch irrigation line. And after you've placed the shut-off valve, you're going to add another little piece of 1/2 inch irrigation pipe to insert an elbow, a 1/2 inch elbow fitting to go into the bed. And you want to cut to size so that the elbow fitting fits right snug into the hole. And you also gotta keep in mind to leave enough room for the part that's inserted into the tube. Now that your elbow's in, you want to stick a piece of 1/2 inch through the hole first, and then wiggle and shimmy the elbow into the 1/2 inch fitting. Now I'm gonna cut about 1 inch or 2 of the pipe that's already inside the bed to add my T, to start putting it along the side and putting more elbows on the corners. 1 elbow on each corner. So here in this right corner, I had to cut about a 2-inch piece to be able to fit the 1/2 inch and also another elbow. So sometimes it's better to put your hole to tee off of in the center, but since my irrigation line was running towards the edge, this is where I placed my hole, and that's where I had to place my tee, and therefore a shorter piece on that irrigation line for the elbow. So feel free to adjust in whichever way you need to. So just cut to size all around the edges and place your elbows. If you're having trouble with the pipe staying down, you can use these loops, silver stakes, or you can also put rocks or whatever it is you have on hand, but I bought these loop stakes from Home Depot in the irrigation section to help keep the stake down until the sun warms it up and keeps it in place. Here is what the irrigation along the sides looks like. Now I will repeat the same process for the other 2 beds that don't have water blankets. So I cut it off just to the amount of length that I need enough to insert the barbed shut-off valve and then the elbow to go into the bed. So I drill my 3/4 inch hole, this time on the outside of the bed, running longwise, and make sure there's enough space to place my T, and then run it along the corners with the elbows on each corner. And doing the same with this bed, cutting off what I don't need and leaving what I do need, and placing the shut-off valve and the rest of the irrigation along the side of the bed. Okay, so the surrounding area of the bed has the 1/2 inch irrigation. Now we just need to get some 1/4 inch across it. Actually, I need to cut it and drill it. So there that is. Okay, so now it's time to cut the 1/4 inch line. So for this bed, the width of it is gonna be it's 21 inches, but I'm gonna do 1 inch less because the barb connector is about 1 1/4 inches. And so to take away that, we're gonna make a 20 inch 1/4 inch line. Now it is time to cut the 1/4 inch irrigation line, and so I'm clamping it down to this wooden board, and I will measure the length that I need it on the wooden board. That way I don't have to keep using the tape measure. So I'm clamping it down because that will be easier for me to handle and to cut and to measure at the same time. If you have somebody that can help you, great. I am cutting about 7 pieces for the 7-foot length of the bed, to be able to space out at least about 12 inches apart, if not less. You could also do more if you want to do more. It's adjustable. There's no rules to this. It's just an idea, and you can expand it if you want. And it's not my idea. I got it from a course that I was taking, but I'm not sure if they used a 1/4-inch line already with emitters on it. But I do know that the 1/4-inch line that does have emitters, the least spacing they have is, I believe, 6 inches. But if I'm wrong, use what you can, use what you got, use what you can afford. And I just like this because you could get 1/4-inch line, a lot of it fairly cheap, and you can drill your holes. But if you don't got the time to do that, there's other options. I'm drilling the 1/16 bit holes about maybe 3 to 4 inches, just so that there's nice even watering all throughout the bed. And so the idea for the 1/4-inch to run across is because usually when you have your water running along the sides, it seeps out faster and doesn't seep into the soil. It just runs out. I'm not sure if you've noticed that, but I know that we have in some of the beds that we have. Now that all our pieces are cut to about 20 inches, I'm going to be using this tool to insert the barbed connectors. And so what's nice about this tool is that you don't have to waste the strength in your fingers to try and get it to this small 1/4-inch line. So you just place the barbed fitting into the hole that's in the tool and place your 1/4-inch line and just squeeze the handle and it'll pop it right into place. It's called something along the lines of barbed fitting insertion tool, and you can find it at Home Depot. I haven't checked Amazon or any of those places, but I'm sure they would have some. You want to place the barbed connectors on both ends of the 1/4-inch line. That way you could connect it to both sides of your 1/2-inch irrigation line. We are now at the bed with all our pieces, and we're going to be using this tool to punch in the holes on the inside, facing the inside of the bed on each side. And you just snap your 1/4-inch line with the connectors right in. And we're going to do this all alongside the bed. Punch our holes and then place the 1/4-inch line with the barbed connectors. And they do have a smaller tool to punch in the holes, but you do have to do it forcefully into the irrigation line for it to puncture the hole. This one you just clamp it down and it punches the hole right through, almost like a hole puncher. Here is the result of the water coming through now that we've turned it on. And so you might need to adjust a little bit on the lines here and there so that the holes are facing in the direction that you want them to water. Whether across or up and down, you take your pick. That's definitely a better water coverage on the bed. And you're always able to adjust or shut off the water if you need to with the shut off valve. I will repeat this process of cutting the 1/4-inch line to size of the width of the irrigation line from side to side, and then punch the holes in with a 1/16-inch bit and a drill for the rest of the 2 beds that are in the front for now. Later on, I will add water blankets also to the areas in the ground where I'll be planting. But for now, the beds are done. All the beds have it now. Here it comes. Oop, that's a lot. You can always go back and poke through the holes that aren't coming out right. And here's another asparagus. This one will almost be ready. This is the first one that came up. So that's basically all there is to this water blanket. Nice even water all across the bowl. There's a water blanket. Get your irrigation. That way when summertime comes, the plants don't die.